Hi, everyone. My name is Bruce, and today we are doing a girl, a guy, and a movie for one of my guilty pleasure films, I Come in Peace, directed by Craig R. Baxley, with assistance from his daddy. And today, Janet got a chance to see one of my favorite films because she's been making me watch movies that sometimes I don't like. So I figured I'd bowl this one back to her with my corn dog fingers.
Yeah, it wasn't. It could have been worse.
It could have been much worse. This is still one of my stupidly favorite movies. It has a kind of a lack of a budget. You see that in the first scene when the guy's like having problems with the CD player, and it kind of gives you that tell when the CD player ejects and it tries to cut his hand, and it's like, what the fuck? I've handled CDs for over 40 years. Never have I had a problem with a CD. But it's funny because this movie, the CD, is a deadly weapon, almost like that old Aerosmith shooting game, Revolution X, for you video gamers. Hey, Crafting Gamer, how you doing, sir? Um, you've never seen this before. You watched it with me, and first thoughts.
Well, it was very interesting. I wasn't expecting it once I figured out it was Dolph Lundgren. I wasn't expecting it to be, like on the A-list movie list, but it definitely went up when I saw who his partner was in the movie.
You like Brian Binben?
I do like him, and I love who he's married to, and they're from Texas.
I don't know that much about. I didn't study Brian Binben much.
Um,
Who's he
I
married to?
can't remember what her name is now. She was in Bad Girls, the real pretty brunette that liked to bake bread with the young man, the prim and proper prostitute one.
Hmm.
The really attractive brunette. I can't remember what her name
I'm
is.
just having a hard time seeing him married. Like
Well,
he looks
yeah,
like one of those dudes
he's
that
married to her. He's been married to her since the 80s.
Madeline Stowe.
Yeah, that's his wife.
Holy
And,
fuck!
when I saw that he was in the movie, I was like, this isn't so bad because I like him. He's a good actor. He always plays a quirky, on target character, a straight but narrow kind of guy. And I thought it made the movie even more entertaining simply because they had a guy that was so you know macho and you know didn't follow the rules and all that, and then you have this strict character that wears a suit. He's got his hair all cut short.
Oh,
uh
he looks completely 80s.
so yeah, so that's what I thought was when I saw that, I was like, okay, I think I can get into this and give it a chance because he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's great. Did you ever watch the TV show Dream On?
Mm-mm.
Okay, way back in the day, when a cable television, or if you're in a country, a satellite dish is the only way you could have actual entertainment with your television until the VHS became affordable.
Yeah.
There was a show on HBO called Dream On. And what it was the start of the show. It shows Mama set this little baby boy in front of the TV set. And then she does all of her chores around him, and the little boy is just there transfixed, staring at the TV.
Was that a
Staring at.
movie with Jim Carrey?
No, this is a TV show
Truman?
called. It's a
Oh,
show called Dream On, and every time something that happens or said in Dream On, Brian Binbin recalls a quick clip of a movie or TV show. And so the entire show, the entire season, all the seasons are just littered with him flashbacking to some 50s TV show where like people say something. And it's just like the ultimate in like smart acid script writing and editing. It's perfect. And if you like things like that, if you're into Dream On, if you're into MST3K, if you're into things like that, then like that's your wheelhouse. And it kind of helps explain to the younger kids why Gen X is such a heartless band of sarcastic assholes. Because we have shows like this to help educate us and help us cushion the blow of reality on our fragile young fucking minds.
yeah.
And it was great. so Brian Benben was on that show for years, and it was great because he always played that little kind of smarmy, mousy, not really mousy, but just a kind of unassuming everyman. But
Mhm.
he pulled women that were beautiful, and it was a wonderful show. It kind of showed you how to get game in the 90s. It showed you how to be funny and smart, and you could literally be the guy that was like, he's not supposed to be with her. She's hot. That guy looks like my bagger at the grocery store, and you'd see it happen. It developed that way. I come in peace. Thank you, Wolfton Media. And you're about to go in pieces. I love this movie. Uh
Yeah, I could tell. I could
I,
tell. The thing is that it was dark, very dark. It was like it never was daytime.
there was one daytime shot.
I know, but I'm saying throughout the whole movie, it
Oh
was
yeah,
like all in one night. Apparently, everything happened in one
no,
night.
3 weeks,
Like,
two,
well, I
two to
know,
three
but
weeks at most. Yeah,
the way that it was filmed, if you didn't get to pay that much attention to it, and you just was like, trying to, smoke a joint, eat some popcorn or whatever, and watch this movie, you would think it's all in one night. It's so it just doesn't. I don't know. I wish it had more daytime parts. At least between him and his girlfriend when he's going to the morgue, or just different things like that to make it show you that how many days were going by or whatever, why they were digging into all this stuff. But the way that he followed directions, even though he knew that he was going to get screwed, basically, his partner. The thing is, for a little bit there, a couple times, and I think they did it on purpose, I kept thinking that maybe he was one of them. He was in on getting this stuff on purpose, not to let him find anything and keep it, basically. But they knew
I,
that for whatever reason he was on the right track, and that all they had to do is let him do all the heavy lifting and just keep the stuff.
I think Switzer kind of told him that before the movie starts. Like, you're gonna go and you're gonna nod your head and do whatever this guy says, but any evidence you can get from this situation, get it for us. And I
Yeah.
think David Aykroyd, not Dan Aykroyd, David Aykroyd played Inspector Switzer, and he played a real good dick in this movie. And he kind of comes off as just somebody that he's got a very
Which character was he? His boss?
yeah, Ben's boss,
Yeah,
Inspector
the one
Switzer.
that got shot and kicked into the little
Fountain.
fountain.
Yep.
Yeah, he did a real good job of being a total prick. I
Yeah,
mean, he was, the acting. I was really surprised. The acting for almost every single person in the movie were like spot on.
yeah.
Now, the one problem I had that every time I'm not trying to be mean, but every time I saw the guy chasing the other guy, all I could
Okay. Are you talking about the good alien, the bad alien,
the good alien.
the good
Every
alien?
time I saw him, all I could think of was it looked like Clint Howard.
Yeah, he does.
It was Clint Howard with a really bad wig because his hair didn't start to like the back of his head. It was
Yeah.
just really weird. But I don't know. It seemed like, I don't know. It just seemed like the first guy was more of a Frankensteinish character. The way he walked,
The bad alien.
the bad alien, yeah, the
Okay.
drugs killer, the murderer, the one that was actually killing people, because the other person wasn't killing people. He was just, well, they were. And that was, I had a hard time with this too, was the fact that there's all these cars being exploded, whole half of blocks being burnt to the ground, and there's no cops.
Yeah, that's one of the problems I have with this film, watching it in a critical stance. But when I'm 14 or 15 years old and I'm taking a day off from high school to nurse a wound I got the day before from a wrestling match, this movie is really just what the doctor ordered, because it doesn't require a lot of heavy lifting on the mental side. but it does require you to at least think about like how are these guys filming this movie in an urban environment. I don't see any miniatures being used, but it's just amazing that they did all of these pyrotechnics pretty
Yeah,
much
there was a
in.
lot of explosions. I mean, I was shocked how many weapons, guns were being shot from different characters, and all the explosions that were going off here and there
I
throughout the
don't
whole
know if
movie.
they used Houston as the primary filming location. I know when it ran over budget, they went to Houston to film the rest of it.
Mhm.
But this movie has a lot of pyrotechnics involved, and it's just from a man's perspective, it's a joy to watch.
I can
I
see
don't
why.
I like you understand why I was so stupidly happy to watch this film yet again. And I've seen this movie probably about a good 20 or 25 times. It's just a piece of testosterone on film because you've got great car chases. The cars themselves, this movie does not have a low budget for cars. For them spending $5 million on this movie, it looks like they spent double.
And people don't realize when you see the cop cars driving around and stuff, you can look at it, and just by the shape and sleekness of the vehicles, you could tell those are real metal.
Yeah.
Those are not like the prefab. I mean, it won't be long, and they're going to be able to like take 3D printed covers, you know what I mean, and just take it off the car and then put another one on. To have picture cars that look exactly the same as the other ones. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having to worry about them getting all trashed up and stuff, because nothing's made out of metal anymore. Everything's just made out of plastic.
So you know? This movie, I don't know what exactly they spent for fire protection, but I hope I think that was like, I would be willing to say that was at least $250,000, easily $250,000 for the fire protection they needed for the film, because they spared no expense to show us all the bright flashy explosions, and there's a lot of scenes in this movie that, like, one other thing I found just amazing is that you have this 6'5" Matthias Hughes, and he's just a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, he
Was he
looks
the
like
drug dealer?
He's the evil alien.
Okay.
He's the
Yeah,
big
evil
blonde
drug dealer.
alien.
Yeah.
And there's no stuntman that's his size.
Yeah, he was way bigger than Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, Lundgren's not a small man.
No, I know, but though I just want to say this one thing before I forget, because my favorite line in the movie was when he after he gets his arm cut, the young FBI agent, and he fixes his arm or patches him up a little bit, and he says, "Would you happen to have a jacket or something?" You know, and he gives him a jacket, he puts it on, and he's like looking at it, and he goes, "Wow, it fits," and he goes, "It fits, it should, because it was mine when I was 12." I thought that was kick-ass line. I laughed for like a minute at least after that line, because it fit for this movie, and the expression that he made when he said it, it just seemed very believable. You know what I mean? For two partners that worked their way out. And now, you know, he's not in the FBI. I'm sure he's lost his job, and I don't know if the other one will ever get his job back or not, but they didn't care. They saved the world from a drug dealing alien. So no one's gonna know.
Invasion. By not letting him get off of Earth with his booty, they stopped an invasion from happening.
Yeah, but no one's going to know it. See, that's the sad truth. Yeah. From what you learn is that the government was trying to swoop in, take all of his technology from this alien, because they knew it was aliens, apparently, because that's why they were covering everything up. And then they were trying to get it and capture one of them. They wanted to capture him and not kill him. Mm-hmm. So, because they knew if they killed him, I guess, that he would blow up or explode like the other guy did in his car. But I don't know. I just thought that them two put together, I would never ever have thought about it. But how good it was! They were honestly. I really believe this is one of my favorite Dolph Lundgren movies now. I really do, because I don't think he's that good. Now I liked him in Red. Was it Reds or what was it called? The one with all the guys.
He's in the Expendables.
Expendables. Okay. When he was in that, I loved him in that because I thought he was really good dramatic actor in that. But see, this one was uh, fun action shoot 'em up basically movie. And you knew it wasn't real, a realistic thing or anything, but the soundtrack was terrible. The
You didn't
music
like
was
the soundtrack?
no, I thought it was terrible.
Oh
And it
my
was
God! I thought the soundtrack is one of the strengths of this movie.
oh, it was terrible. No, and I thought the music was so loud. It was like bam, 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 beating
You know
music.
what? Okay,
in the background. It
the
took you out of
majority of the soundtrack
scene.
was ripped from the second season of Miami Vice. Jan
Oh,
Hammer did
yeah,
a lot of the
probably.
soundtrack for Miami Vice, and so he borrowed liberally from his previous work. There's one episode in particular from second season of Miami Vice he borrowed from, but that's like I dig synthesizers and shitty guitars and guys with mullets trying to jam. I think that's like comfort food and testosterone. It's great.
Well, I did. I was really impressed with the fact that they picked an actual actress that could act and
Mhm.
was pretty, but not a bimbo bombshell like I was expecting. Now, the one girl that died that was working on a car and she was all hot blonde, and
Mina.
she got laid down on the ground and the alien injected her with all the heroin or whatever, and then it drained her brain.
Yep.
Or drained her from her boob, though, not from her, or wherever it was. I guess he did take it from her.
He got it. He spiked her in the head because I could
He did
tell that
spike her
was
in the head and drain her endorphins or
her
whatever it
fake
was.
fucking head. When you're watching this movie as a teenager for the first time in 1991, you don't realize that's just a prop. You're just like, oh my God, that looks real. Now, after years of watching bad movies, I can tell a doll or mannequin or prop, a non-real human skull.
Yeah.
And that definitely like.
Oh, it looked like a real woman. I mean, it looked like a real person, except, the special effects for the attachment of the thing. Now, see, that was another thing that I couldn't stop looking at during the whole struggle with the snake-like thing that came out of his glove. And he's fighting with it. It reminded me of what was it from that other movie with the martial arts in outer space?
I don't know.
Hold on, give me a
I
second.
watch bad movies for joy, Janet. You can't say things.
Give me a second. I got to look it up. Then
bad movie in outer space with Strati. I don't know.
No, it was the guy from Tarzan, and he was also like a sensei for all these people. And there was a battle, Mortal Kombat. Remember Mortal Kombat?
I try to forget, but sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
1995 version.
The two guys, the ice guy, and then the serpent one. I'm trying to remember their two names. Remember
you're talking about
Sub-Zero.
Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah. Okay. Scorpion. Remember he had that thing that came out of his hand?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's what it looked like to me. It almost looked identical.
Just about, yeah.
So, except it didn't open its mouth and try to grab them, like it did in that. But the way it moved around and stuff, that's what I was thinking about. So I was like, was this movie before or after?
This was 5 years before.
Okay. So I was like, wow. So now we know where the Sub-Zero idea came from, or the snake,
we have an idea
that came from. Kind of saw that and went, ooh, that's cool. We got to put something like that in there. But yeah, it was very interesting. Some little things like that did remind me of other movies, but I didn't see this one way back when it came out. So, I can't help but be drawn to, certain things. But I was really impressed that they didn't try to push Dolph in this movie as just one of those snotty Miami Vice, detectives that always dates, bimbos. She was really smart because here she was, the corner of the city, and they've been dating for 10 years or whatever. And, it's just prim and proper. And he wasn't really ready to settle down or anything because he thought his life was too, crazy. And then when he brought the other guy to his apartment and he looked around, he was impressed. He was like, "What? This is your apartment?" And he was really shocked. It was like the whole thing, in a way, it was a little bit like, don't judge a book by its cover, don't try to say, "Oh, look at that person, they have to live like this," because they don't. You should always just accept somebody for whatever they show to you on a daily basis, type of thing. So I just thought it was really good. The director, whoever chose the casting person who chose all the different people to work together, I don't know, they just had something. They had something in their mind, and they were able to pick the people and get them to work together to make it really good, considering their budget,
Yeah.
So, hi, Snorterpoopus.
Snorterpoopus.
Yeah. So it was just really well done. I was really surprised. I was thinking we were watching a totally different movie today, and then so I had to go change my shirt and all this kind of junk. But what was interesting was I had read all about this other one, right? And then I'm like, well, now I got to start over. So now I had to watch it. And the only thing I really got to look up was the people when I went down the list for the cast and find out as much as I could about each person. And when I realized who he was, because I'm like, he looks familiar. And you don't realize how little he is, because I don't think he's that small. I think he's at least 5'10".
I believe he's actually like 6 foot, I want to say.
Ben?
I think he's 6 foot.
Ben?
Oh, Brian Ben? No, he's like 5'8".
Oh, really? I thought he was like 5'11", but I could be wrong. I didn't see anything. But the thing is, because Madeline Stowe is in a shrimp, so I mean, she's and she's really pretty, because he had a couple of good looking women in that movie that I know you hated, but
I mean, she's a really good actress in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. And they live in Texas, so they like.
I just posted up that Brian
conservative lifestyle.
Brian Bin and Madeline Stowe have an operating cattle ranch just outside of Fredericksburg, Texas.
Mm-hmm. And they have one daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they've been married since 1982 or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. They've been married a long time. Oh, hi, Flatey. Sorry, I'd have to get on my phone to be able to type to you guys.
I'm just gonna. I'm actually kind of shocked at something I just read here.
What is it?
My Brian Bin is 5'6".
Really?
We're the same height.
He's little.
We're the same height.
He's little, way smaller than I thought. I'm not saying that he's little, but I mean compared to what I thought. And but he did a good job at playing somebody that wasn't intimidated by someone like Dolph Lundgren. You know what I mean?
Dolph is completely dwarfs him on this movie.
Yeah. Well, he's supposed to.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Lady, I hope you're doing well. I hope things are going good for you. Yep, Dolph Lundgren. He's also.
Oh, he's
6'5",
4.5 feet tall. Yeah, I knew he was at least 6 feet or more.
Okay, and Matthias Hughes is wearing like 4 or 5 inch platform shoes in this movie.
Oh yeah, that's what I said when he was walking, and he had the shadows in the back, and you could see his shoes were at least. He looked like he was wearing boots that maybe a band like Kiss or someone else would be wearing, while they're on stage. And you gotta that's a lot of work to learn how to walk in big giant.
He did his own stunts.
Yeah, he's a
Matthias
huge
Hughes did
dude.
all those stunts, and we're gonna go over to there's a particular individual that I watch a lot because it's it's good fun, and we're over at Jason Brandt's YouTube page on his comments. Epic 80s action movies 2 years ago. Hello, my bad. It's so good, friends, Jason and Brian. I truly enjoyed your show. Yes, I am the Dark Angel, Matthias Hughes, and this movie was the most fun shoot of my life. Baxley was out to kill me every day with the most insane stunts, and everyone around us said it was like a mantra. He will not survive this night, and that night after night. And yes, I could not see out of the contact lenses at all. It was a blind leading the blind, tuning for my life. I loved it, and Craig is a super stud director, the real deal, and total old Hollywood school stuntman turned director. I love this man. When I was casted, Baxley said, "This is your chance." Originally, the movie was created for Dolph to slip into the Terminator slot like Arnold with this movie, but he felt it was Better Force's career to be the cop. Anyway, a little trivia, and thank you guys for watching. Keep entertaining. Cheers, Matthias Hughes. And so I'm like, well, wait a second. That doesn't sound right. Let me go check out this guy's page. And so I went over here to his, I followed it because I do that. Shit, it's Matthias Hughes' YouTube page. So I'm like, holy cow, this guy talks about life and living as a Hollywood stuntman and actor. That's awesome. So if you want to know more about Matthias Hughes and kind of like follow on a non like Facebook or Twitter bullshit,
Yeah.
this is the way to go. Doing good
Never
food
know.
correct.
He might have some interesting stuff to talk about.
I think he does. I've watched a few of these, and Matthias is kind of an interesting cat to follow. He's got uh, a lot of stories from his time in the 80s and 90s working in Hollywood and getting his chops busted. He's done good. Wolfton Media asks, will you guys do Full Eclipse and Project Metal Beast? I'm thinking about Full Eclipse for October.
Never heard of either one of them.
Project Metal Beast sounds like a November movie because that's we don't believe in Thanksgiving here. Just kidding.
But the one thing I wish that we'd seen somehow or something would be the ships.
We never see that.
I know, but okay, you got an alien that comes here to get drugs and he's going to go back. So how is he going to get back? And then you have another person that chases him here to hunt him down to make sure he doesn't get back with the drugs. Okay, so now you got two dead aliens, but now you have two ships somewhere.
I think one of them completely crashed. The good alien did not look like he was a good pilot. I don't remember him driving too well either. Nothing
Well,
bad.
I'm just saying, there was a lot of gaps in the story. There were a lot of giant holes that you wouldn't.
There are. This movie is this movie would have benefited from like a second script editor.
Or like the part where you see when they show up and they see that the government is like higher up government, is taking over, and the FBI isn't even allowed there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you see that, it would have been nice for him for them to say, let me make a few phone calls. And then you see him get on a payphone or whatever and make a call, and it's somebody that answers the phone. And in the background, you see some weird ship, where they're all working on it. It says, yeah, we a few of them have been following something. It's really interesting or something like that. So you could see that the government had the ships or one of the ships. That's how they knew somebody was there.
That would have fixed a lot of the
just little. It wouldn't even have had to been very long. It'd been half a minute long phone call, and all you'd need is a flash in the background, because there was a couple things. It was it Men in Black, or was the Independence Day, where they had little things in the background. They didn't have to talk. So just little things could have filled it in. And maybe it was because they just didn't have the budget, because they spent all the budget on blowing shit up. I don't know. But just little gaps in the story would have been nice, because it seemed like they got a bunch of mismatched people to be. You've got your director, and then you get your one actor that you definitely want to do the movie with. Okay, he wants to make the movie and he wants to put it around this character. So then he's got to get a good casting director to help him find the characters to work well, alongside with this actor to make him look better, because all actors want the best they can get to feed off of them. Because if you got an actor that's better than you, it makes you look worse. You're not going to want to work with that person. See, and believe me, any actor that's got an ego is going to do the best they can to not be alongside someone who's better looking than them, if they want to be the hunk or the gorgeous babe in the movie, or someone that can outact them. Because how many movies have you watched where the supporting actor just outshines and takes the whole movie?
Well, Brian Binbin has a hard time not doing that because he is a character full of personality.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he's ever starred in, I've always noticed that he comes out like completely ahead. He is literally the little guy that makes good, and that he runs away with the girl in damn near everything he's in.
Yeah, even though he's a little guy, but he's just talented, and he, you could tell he has like a sense of professionalism in him. Even though this was a B-rate movie, he didn't act a B-rate part.
No, and I think
this shines.
See, when we started talking about this film, when I said we're gonna review it, and you're like kind of clueless. I have no idea what you're talking about, Bruce. Okay, we're gonna watch this movie. I was under the impression that this movie was a mid-budget film, like maybe $10 or $12 million for back in the '90s. Like they had a reasonable amount of insurance on it. Because I'm under the impression, like, I remember all the explosions and car chases, Lamborghinis. I remember all this, and I'm thinking like that movie had to be expensive to make. They made it for less than like $5.5 million. So then,
it had a low budget,
very low budget movie. And then when the movie went to the theaters, it ran for like 2 weeks and it was just killed. In Europe, however, this was one of the most successful films that got marketed at the time. The company that published this film had never had the success they had, and it ran for quite a while in Europe. But over in America, we couldn't fucking like it. It just didn't sell. And it was weird because I remember seeing the advertisement for it once or twice. It looked good. And then the next year in '91, I'm just taking a day off from school. Oh, I'm sick. Don't let me go to school, blah, blah, blah. And I stay home, and this movie's on. And I'm like, holy shit, this is a badass movie. And I tell my dad about it, and he catches it about a week later because it goes on syndication. And it's on the morning slot, like 11 to 2. Then they show it in the 2 to 4 slot on another channel. So if you've got syndication in Central Illinois, you've got 2 channels that you can watch in syndication, and they rotate the movies around a lot, different time spots. So eventually, if you're home, you're going to see it if you turn on the TV. My dad catches it, and he's like, that's really not a bad show. It's not great, but it was entertaining. And that's all I ask for movies to do for the most part.
Yeah, entertainment. That's what they're supposed to be.
Lady, you ask a question that everybody else remembers in this movie. Isn't this movie with magnetic metal flying discs? Yep. Yeah,
CDs.
It's so good. It's so good. They use a speaker to defeat the alien weapon. That's awesome. And I
did think that was genius.
Yeah. So this is for me, this was like a lot of fun to revisit. Although watching it just now with Janet kind of took some of the chrome off the finish, and I realized like this movie's got some real issues with it, but
it was still very entertaining. I've seen this movie is definitely not anywhere near the worst movies I've ever seen. When I saw the supporting actor, I went, okay, I think I can handle this movie. I can give it a break and just watch it for what it is. And I did, and I enjoyed it. It was really, really entertaining. And he did a great job being in an action movie. I mean, I was really impressed with him.
Brian Benben's a good actor, and I mean, I don't know anybody that really
You
disagrees with
didn't
that.
know that he was the one married that he was married to Madeline Stowe.
I think I might have heard that once or twice, but it
You didn't
was,
remember it.
yeah, I couldn't recall when we were discussing that. I watched this film with just anticipation. This is a bucket of popcorn movie. Like
Definitely.
you literally just snack an entire bucket of popcorn the whole time you're watching it because it's got so much eye candy.
Uh-huh.
They did a hell of a job making the entire movie look dark so they could highlight all the explosions and they could make the entire film just come out and just explode on screen. I would only imagine that on a big screen this movie would have been blinding in a theater during the last act of the film because it's just you've got Matthias Hughes jumping on cars as they're exploding behind him, and everybody on set when they're filming this like we're gonna kill him tonight. He's gonna die. There's gonna be a hospital bill. This movie's gonna be responsible for killing the Swedish man, and that was the funny part to me reading about it later because this movie has this guy that he's not really a trained stuntman. He's a martial artist, but he there's nobody that can do his stunts for him. So guess what, dude? You get to do your own stunts. So in this aspect, this movie for me, for for the past year and a half, there was a movie that Crafting Gamer recommended that we watched called Cutthroat Island, and for the longest time, I thought Cutthroat Island was like the epitome of a film where you're forced to do double duty out of necessity because Carol Co doesn't have the budget for it.
Yeah.
Well, now once I come in peace under a critical mindset, and I'm watching Matthias Hughes do all of his own stunts throughout the entire film. This movie surpasses Cutthroat Island for me in terms of at least action, not in terms of editing or script. Cutthroat Island had a really good editing director or editing room. This movie could have had a little bit more tightened up around it, but Craig was the director was getting his start on Dukes of Hazard, and he made his first episode of A Team. That was his first directing job. So I don't expect him to be real tight on the editing and chronography of all the various scenes. I don't expect things to be just a perfect fit and there it to be flawless. I'm not insulting the man, but I'm just saying that he wasn't hired to make Shakespeare. He was hired to entertain teenagers. And as
Hmm.
a teenager, when I saw this movie, I was just amazed. Dolph Lundgren, he could do spinning heel kicks. That first one he does in the liquor store, he knocks a guy out because he misses his mark. So he's a real talented martial artist, not a good stunt man because his buddy didn't really, he didn't guarantee his safety that day.
Well, it was that there was a couple of scenes where I was like, "Wow!" The scenes where he was fighting the alien, the bad
Yes,
alien,
yes.
and he would do all these moves that I've seen him do in other movies. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it didn't have any kind of reaction. He was just kind of like, it's a dud." It was like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah,
And then you see how big he is. It's like I don't know. It was amazing to see someone actually that big
yeah.
uh,
He
compared
dwarfed
to
Dolph
him.
Lundgren on this movie
Yeah,
thanks
so
to the
it was
platform.
kind of scary.
Matthias, just a big boy. He's 6'5" in real life. In this movie, they gave him 4 to 5 inch platform, and
Yeah, you could tell with that.
he just made intimidating. Doesn't even go close to it.
But it was a lot of similarities to other movies that I couldn't help but kept going in my head, like uh, you know, um, Terminator.
Yeah.
Because you got one person there doing something nefarious, and the other one comes to try to through time or whatever to try and stop them before they follow through with whatever it was that we're going to do, that kind of thing. So I don't know. It was and then I told you stuff about the creature that looked like it was in the other movie, Sub Zero, and
Mortal Kombat.
yeah, Mortal Kombat movie. But just different little things like that I could take out. What other movies were out at the theater at the time this one came out to
Hold
knock
on.
it down a few because how much money did this make? It didn't make a lot because
4.8 million, I think. Not
the
much at all.
numbers that I found on uh, Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, it didn't do very well. I mean,
No.
the audience score isn't even very good, and that's usually what I go by about whether or not I even want to watch something. But it was like in the 30s, so I was like, "Oh my God, I'm dead." But that's why I said when I saw who his co-star was, I went, "I think I can make it through this movie," because he's talented enough to make Dolph look good, and he did. Them two together to me was, I bet they laughed. I would love to see outtake reel from this movie because I guarantee it was funny as shit. I guarantee they laughed. He probably took him under his arm a lot and did that little head nuggies,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I guarantee it because he's that kind of character. He's that kind of person.
From what I've seen, Dolph Lundgren's a real personable, very easygoing guy.
Yeah, so is Bin. That's why I was saying I think and they're so different in style and the way they present themselves in movies and stuff. I guarantee I would love to have been a fly on a wall to be around them while they were, filming and stuff.
So this movie came out in 1990. I'm going to give you the top 10 movies of that year just to take you back. Number 1 is Home Alone. 2 is Ghost.
Oh.
3 was Dances with Wolves. With Kevin Costner. 4 is Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman directed by Walt Disney Studios, or distributed by Walt Disney Studios. Number 5 of 1990 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a movie we reviewed very well.
Yeah.
6 is The Hunt for Red October, which surprises me how well that movie did. It's a great movie. Number 7 is a classic for me, Total Recall. Number 8, Die Hard 2. Number 9, this surprises me, Dick Tracy.
I liked Dick Tracy.
And number 10 is Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Now, for the month of September, when this movie came out, you have, and I'm going to start with August of 1990. Here's what happened in August. August 1st, you get Young Guns 2 comes out. DuckTales the movie, Metropolitan, Mo Better Blues. Those come out on the 3rd. On August 10th, Air America, Flatliners with Kiefer and Julia and William Baldwin.
That did good, didn't it?
Kind of. It was a commercial. I think it broke even. It might have made a little bit more money than usual, but it was well thought of at the time. The Two Jakes. Jack Nicholson directed that, by the way.
I never saw it.
The Exorcist 3 came out on the 17th, along with My Blue Heaven, with Steve Martin and Rick Moranis pairing up again after Little Shop of Horrors. And they had Taking Care of Business. God, I remember the ad campaigns for this because I had nothing better to do. I was grounded at the time. Wild at Heart.
We had a lot of competition.
Yeah, a lot of competition. Good competition.
And it was back when kids used to pay their own way to the movie too. Teenagers. That's what I was trying to think about. And how many teenage movies would the teenagers want to spend their money on?
Well, here's odd that you interrupt me there because on the 22nd of August, 1990, Pump Up the Volume came out.
Well, you think about this just real quick before you go any farther. You think about it though. You got young men that are working hard at whatever their job is, mowing yards, helping their dad with their landscaping business or as a carpenter apprentice or whatever it is, right? And you get your money and you know you're only going to get a certain amount of money. Well, you got a date Friday night or Saturday night, or do you go by yourself? To the movies. So if you're going to go by yourself, you're probably going to go see a movie like this one. It's got lots of explosions and stuff like that. But if you're going to take a woman out, you're going to be more likely to go see something else that's a little more.
So your statement there about the teenagers, the 22nd of August, that was the teen movie of the year. Pump Up the Volume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you
go. Christian Slater and Samantha Mathis. Now,
so that's what I was saying. When you're thinking about it and you're planning ahead, as some teenagers did, especially ones that had jobs, they were thinking about how they're going to go impress their girl. So they wanted to take them to a good movie and out to eat, and they couldn't afford to do both. So they would wait until the following weekend or other night to go see the action movie.
So the 22nd that happened. The 24th, you got the release of After Dark, My Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Then the cult classic Dark Man, which we will be reviewing in December.
Good. Like that one.
Delta Force 2, The Colombian Connection. And Dreams. Life is Cheap, but Toilet Paper is Expensive. Men at Work. The Witches. Those all happen on the 24th. That right there wipes out your September fucking budget, because this is the last month of full summertime and the kids go to school next month. This movie releases in September.
Yeah.
The 31st, you got Lemon Sisters, Mirror Mirror, and Shrimp on the Barbie with Cheech Marin.
Mm-hmm.
Not the movie I thought it would be. 14th of September. They don't even have something released on the 7th. The 14th of September, Death Warrant with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Hardware, which we're going to be reviewing at some point because I want to see that again. It's got Pop and Lemmy in it. Come on now. Postcards from the Edge with Meryl Streep. Repossessed, good zany movie with Bob Zaney. It's got Jesse Ventura. I was a Navy SEAL. And Leslie Nielsen.
Mm-hmm.
State of Grace. White Hunter, Black Heart. September looks pretty good for not having a single release in the first week. September 19th. What gets released? Goodfellas. Ain't no money. No money for that. For that movie coming out.
So once it went away from the box office, so it made, I guess, its money up in rentals
and DVD and VHS sales. Funny About Love, Narrow Margin come out on the 21st. On the 28th, you have I Come in Peace, King of New York, Pacific Heights, and Texasville come out. I own 2 of those movies. I didn't realize that. Come in Peace and King of New York. Don't be surprised. There's no money for I Come in Peace. I just gave you the last 8 weeks of releases, and there's a reason why that movie was ignored.
Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren. You mean the guy from Rocky IV? I can just hear the snobbery in audiences right there.
Yeah, as soon as I would see something like that with certain actors, I would just say, I'll wait till it comes out on rental.
Yeah.
I did that a lot because I wanted to save money. I saved my money to go to a movie where I could have popcorn and everything with a huge screen and cool speaker sound, for a movie that I wanted to enjoy the most. And something like this just wasn't on my list,
Thank you.
See
I didn't mean for Wolf 10 to I didn't realize you departed. Sorry, sir. I don't know. This movie back then, it was a surprise for me to watch, and I'm really happy that you feel the same exact way. Like you kind of got your you kind of got, just a nice surprise luncheon with this
Well,
film.
I was really happy because remember, I was not excited about watching the movie today because I thought it was going to be a different one. Remember?
Hmm.
And I was like going, oh, I'm dreading this movie, but I'm going to watch it. So I'm trying to stay, open or whatever, so I can take some notes and see what I think about it. And then it wasn't even the movie I was thinking it was. I was like, hey, this is nice, and I'm thankful that it had the opposite, actor and as his uh, sidekick basically, and I thought he was great in it. It was like Batman and Robin.
I,
Almost.
I gotta say, this is probably my favorite Dolph Lundgren film
Mhm.
out of all the films
Yeah, I
he's
was
done.
really impressed. I
He
really
actually
was.
he actually tries to act in this movie a couple times,
Mhm.
and it comes out pretty good. Now, he's not a great actor. There's a few points in this film where like he's not that great at delivery.
Mhm.
When he's telling the spaceman "fuck you" or uh, you go in pieces. That should have
I
been
liked that
cooler.
line. I thought that was one of my favorite line was the one I told you. It fits because that's what I wore when I was 12.
Yeah, that was
Well,
hilarious.
it was a great line. So, but there was a couple other things that I found I thought was really, really interesting. It says, where is it? Let me get it real quick. Yeah, it said, I guess this isn't the one. Darn it, I thought that was it. I was looking up different things about, like mistakes, things like that. And there really wasn't anything that stood out like a sore thumb besides the things that I've already mentioned to me. With the music, I just thought some of the music areas were not very good because the music overtook the scenes, or it didn't seem like it fit, or it took you away from the scene. Um, and there was a couple scenes that seemed like they dragged it on too long. They added to some of the scenes, and it wasn't even action. It was like leading up to the action or something, when they could have added more somewhere else. Like I said, like the phone call of him trying to find out something, and then give the military, or not the military, the government guy something to make him feel like, see, I can do something, that type of thing. I
Yeah.
don't know. I just thought, I don't know. And plus, I thought Dolph Lundgren's character in a few times was too nonchalant about some things that I don't think he really would have been, especially not when his girlfriend's right there at
Have you
risk,
seen
things like that.
Have you seen Showdown in Little Tokyo, Janet?
Mm.
Okay, guys, you know what I'm talking about.
Never heard
Okay,
of it. Who's in it?
Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, um, I guess it has to be added to our spring schedule. That's a favorite. I've got the VHS at the parents' house. It was a amazing film. Just a it has a little bit of this movie, the camaraderie and the shit talking amongst men. It has a little bit of that, but it's Brandon Lee instead of Brian Benben. So if you can handle that, it'll be another surprise. And it's pretty okay. It's got Tia Carrere in it too.
Mhm. Oh, I like her. I
Yeah,
loved her in Wayne's World,
I
but we
wanted.
did that one already.
Yeah,
But I went when I was looking at Rotten Tomatoes, and I was reading a couple of the little little snippets at the
Blurb.
top for the critic reviews or whatever. I was There was a few of them on there that were all good towards Bin Bin, so I was really surprised about that because it said like the deceptively straight-looking Bin Bin, however, proves to be a willy scene stealer with a very sharp sense of comic timing. And he did. He really held up this movie to me. He did such a good job that he brought the movie up a couple notches, I felt.
Okay.
It made Dolph Lundgren more respectable. I don't know if that makes sense or not. And it made him look good. It made him look like a better actor
Yeah.
working alongside someone like
I-
him. And the woman wasn't too bad either because she was kind of she should have had the real thick shoulder pads and be bouncing her head back and forth. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but like
you want her to be a big bimbo?
I don't know. Yeah, she was like in some lines she sounded bimbo-ish, even though she was portraying somebody that was supposed to be really smart in the city as the the city's coroner that's really in charge of so many things. And some scenes she did really good, spot on and believable, and then other ones I don't know, I just had it was like she went up and down depending on maybe she really was so swooning when she was around him that she couldn't help herself. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got to figure out the last act of the movie. She's under the impression that for once in her life, she's going to get time alone with this guy she's been with for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I
Maybe.
dragged a woman along for 10 years, and I mean, I got the same reaction from her. So, did I say that aloud? I'm sorry. Okay. So, but
I don't know. To me, it wasn't so much her part. It was more of like she just was off. Her timing was off.
Yeah. And a lot of it, she is off in this movie because she's a very good character actor, but she's not really. God, I hate to say leading woman material. She's not.
Comedy.
Yeah, she's not given the ability to stretch as a character. She doesn't have the backstory where that would be a natural.
She was very rigid. That's what it was. I kept thinking, what is it? What is it? And it's because she was too rigid. She's more of a. It was like she could never get relaxed.
Never.
And just let her hair down and just laugh. Even though she did laugh and try to act funny, I just didn't. It wasn't believable to me. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's how I felt when I was watching some of the scenes that she did.
That's very much exactly the situation she had throughout most of this film. She's kind of stuck until Dolph tells her, like, go get your bags packed. We're going to go on vacation. And after that, like, she's like, oh my God, I get to do something, and it's neat because you can see that with her. And for the time period, I can understand where that's going on. And then the movie just drops in the third gear to fourth to fifth to sixth real quick. And she's kind of being strung along, and the bad guy grabs her as a token to us that love action movies. Like, he's got her in a hostage situation, and Dolph pulls out the dope and he starts breaking containers, and she gets flung aside. And that's basically what the script seems to do to her.
Well, because he realizes that she's not useful.
Yeah.
For what he thought she was. And now he was just lucky he didn't just chuck her off the side.
Yeah, that's the real benefit there, is that he didn't throw her to her death.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think if this director would have thought that she could have survived a fall, that would have happened. But
something like that. That's what I was worried about when he just dropped it on the ground. I was like, oh, he's going to throw her over the side because she's useless. But the fact that he just chucked her behind her like she was just nothing, because that's basically how he doesn't look at anyone as a human, as real, or needed or anything, because he got what he needed from him. The only thing he came there for was to get the one drug that's worth lots of money or whatever. Or whatever it is they have there. And
the alien in the car, the good alien, is giving away the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah.
It seems kind of hokey at first, but for some odd reason, it just seems to fit really well. So I just kind of nodded and okay. Fine.
Yeah, the one part I had a problem with that scene in the back seat is the way they made his insides look, because it was like Terminator.
What I didn't have a problem with it. I actually liked the fact
him being white, like he was made out. Remember the cyborgs in the movie Alien?
Yeah, that's where I was
real. So he was an alien. Okay. He wasn't even an alien. He was a robot cyborg.
I actually like that because it did caused me to think of the alien. But then, as like the bits of him are falling out like chunks of butter melting on a hot summer day, I was like, nah, he's acting like he's in too much pain. He's not a cyborg.
Yeah, but
And
I just didn't like. I didn't like that it was white pasty goo, like flour and water or whatever. I just didn't think that was
it's
believable
only
enough.
$5 million for the budget,
I don't
Janet.
care. When you go to a movie and you buy a ticket, you're not thinking about, oh, I wonder how much money they spent on this movie. You didn't look that up. You saw the billboard, you bought a ticket, and you went expecting to get what you pay for, entertainment and a story that unfolds in front of you with character arcs and blah, 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 right? Well, I I didn't think the alien costume work was he was cheaply done compared to his the person he was chasing because you could tell.
I actually like the alien costumes. I like the long jackets. I am the
No,
kid
not
that,
that. I'm
okay.
talking about the guy in the back seat's makeup and stuff was not as detailed as the lead alien. You
No,
could tell they spent all
and
the
he
alien
wouldn't
budget
be.
on him because he was in the movie more. He was more menacing and believable, his outfit and everything. Now the outfit on the other guy was fine. It was just once he was dying and we saw the hole in him, if they'd made it more of a green ooze or an orangey color or something, but when they made it white, I instantly was thinking Terminator, a cyborg, not an alien. So the whole alien thing went out the window for me when I saw the white goo instead of
Okay.
what I would expect to see in an alien, not a cyborg, because
Okay.
that's just what I'm programmed to see. That was the only thing I was going to bring up.
I didn't have a problem with the alien makeup effects for either alien.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the fact that they used chunky bits of white dairy product. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
I mean, like I won't
Cottage
eat
cheese.
mayonnaise. I don't eat mayonnaise. I don't eat fucking ranch dressing. So if y'all want to use that shit for like alien makeup, take it by the truckload and apply it because I'll never use it. I don't eat white sauce. When you say, Bruce, we're gonna have wings, do you want ranch? I'm good. Give me the fucking rub. I'll be good. And I
Do you
don't
like
eat.
barbecue?
I like barbecue sauce or I just like the rubs, and one of the two. I can't get into it. But they want to use mayonnaise for this guy's guts coming out. Perfect. I won't fucking eat it. So go ahead. You can have my share. And I thought the white stuff was great, and I didn't have a real issue with that. The problem that I kind of had with this movie is actually the secondary stuff, not even the alien or the good alien and the backseat cooking off. I had a problem with the white boys. I have an issue with them acting so overtly as like if this would have been a animated film, I might forgive the white boys portion of the movie a little bit more, but this is a live action movie and here's a bunch of guys that should be like reviewing your mortgage and looking at you downward with their
Are you
glasses up,
talking about the drug gang?
and they're talking about I'm talking about the drug gang, and like the fact they're doing that shit so overtly in downtown Houston with just a few secretaries and doorways separating them
Well,
from
did
the
you
street.
see any
Like
color in this movie?
what?
Did you see any color in this movie?
Yeah, I did. The first cop that gets shot in this movie is the black cop that's supposed to be undercover.
Mhm.
That's the only black guy you might see in this movie. I'm not the type of person to give a shit about quotas, but I did notice that once you pop that question, like, oh yeah, the one black guy they had in this movie, they shot like they abused the shit out of him like a hockey puck on a rink. Okay, that's the rub. Did my screen freeze or is it your screen that froze? Hello? Janet? Okay. So I think we had a mix up on here. I thought my screen froze. I might have been hers. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for not abandoning us. Janet froze and Bruce disappeared. Yeah, I think Restream had a derp. Flady says mayo is delicious. Unsub now. Oh shit. That's funny. Oh, thank you, Flady. So can you hear me, Crafting Gamer? Can you hear me? You said no. That makes me think that testing, 1, 2, testing. Okay, this might not be great. Testing, 1, 2. How's that? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hey, there's Janet. Janet, come on back. Restream has been having trouble lately, and of course, everybody that's got the new NVIDIA drivers has been having trouble too. NVIDIA is not known for their high quality. Hello? Okay. I can see the audio meter moving. Okay. So, Janet will be back in just a second. This movie just hits a lot of safe spots for me as far as quality film is concerned. This movie hits a lot of high marks. The soundtrack for me is a particular high point because I do like Jan Hammer a lot. I watched a lot of Miami Vice growing up. I watched a lot of Michael Mann growing up. This is the type of film that you could find me watching when I was just wanting to do some Star Wars planning for the D6 game I was running, and this was the movie to have in the background. It just felt appropriate. As far as everything else is concerned, I would say probably this movie has probably been there whenever I've had like difficulty in relationships or trouble like that, because I always do default back to this movie. Uh, had a girlfriend back in the 90s and early 2000s that when she watched this film with me, she's like, "Did you take notes on how to treat women?" And I'm like, "Kind of." She's like, "Well, I feel like I'm being strung along just like the lady in this show." And I'm like, "Oh." We broke up soon after that and haven't really talked ever since. But yeah, this movie had a big effect on me, and I probably shouldn't have admitted that, but that's just, I like this film a lot, and I realize like Dolph's big problem, his character's arc in this movie is that he gets too involved with work and doesn't pay attention to his own uh, personal health. He spends a lot of money on himself as appearing to his apartment or his place, but it's a hollow existence he's got, and he hopefully after the movie ends, after they've got back from their vacation, hopefully he learns to balance his work and life priorities so he can treat his woman right. Okay, so with the rest of this film, I guess you could say that the soundtrack is great. I love the pyrotechnics. Paul Baxley, Craig's father, the director's father, is the guy that did the work for the stunts and car chase work. I don't know if he was actually a second unit director, but he seemed like he was really in charge of getting this to look right. And that's something that I thought uh, made it probably feel like an older movie. A lot of people say I saw this movie in the 80s. It was written in 84. Uh, there's a lot of this movie that feels like an 80s film. The cars, the soundtrack, it just all fits together like a classic 80s movie. This could have made more money if Canon Group had taken it, but they had to go with this other group, Vision Media, I think, and they didn't seem to get a whole lot of publicity. They didn't do a lot of marketing. I remember seeing one advertisement for it and going, that looks great. And then it disappeared until it appeared on Channel 43 out of Bloomington. You syndication people in Central Illinois know what I'm talking about. So this is this is probably a highly rated movie, not the highest rated movie I've ever watched. Actually, today it's dragging down a little bit because of all the small mistakes it had. And I hate to say that. I really liked this movie a little bit more before I watched it today. Janet's still gone. She'll be back. Hopefully, she'll be back. She might be having internet issues because her screen did freeze. Janet, if you're having trouble with that, just let me know in Twitter or something. I'm not gonna hold us to 2 hours. We have to do exactly 2 hours today. No, 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 no. We're gonna have fun today, and then we're gonna shut it down. Thank you for being here with me, though. Everybody that's here, we do have a bit of things to discuss. One thing we'll be watching next week, and the review is going to be for the movie The Abyss, and I believe that's not Madeline Stowe. Uh, Jeremy, I'm doing good. When I say I'm doing good, I'm very happy about the fact that I've not had a real issue uh, with my life. Things are going about as smooth as they could be. It's it's odd to have a run of good luck last what feels like for a long time. I actually feel like things have been about as good as they can get for many months. I started a new job in January, and aside from the long hours, I'm doing very well with it. I want to continue that trend, but it seems like it's been going really good, and I don't have a negative to say about my personal or private or professional life. Uh, I'm just wanting to be a better painter, and like yesterday, I got a kind of a weight off my chest because after we finished up the game last night, I got on my computer and I decided I would delete some games because they were just in the way of my enjoyment. I'm never going to buy another FromSoft game again because I really hate FromSoft. I just think they're a bunch of tiny dick pieces of shit developers that don't like PC users, and they especially don't like guys that use mouse and keyboard. So, just saying that, I have a real issue with FromSoft. I was playing about 2 months ago. I started trying to play this Armored Core Part 6, which everybody that played it says, oh, it's so good, it's so good. And it's really pretty. It's really got a nice score to it. It looks good. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of uh, anti-Western civilization stuff, and a lot of the heroic characters are named after kind of like a Middle Eastern theme, very pro-Muslim. And the more I read about the design team and the notes about the game, the less I gave a fuck about Armored Core 6. Like, you've already kind of handicapped mouse and keyboard users. You don't like guys that spent the money for a widescreen monitor. You you really cater to the console crowd. So that's three strikes you're out. I'm not even going on the religious aspect that I don't like Islam at all. And if I go to hell, I'm going to do so many horrible things to Muhammad's body over the course of eternity that we're going to change that religion. So I just, I don't ever plan on giving money to fucking From Software ever again. I think that was a waste of fucking $60. It's a pretty game. It's got a good soundtrack to it. I listen to the soundtrack on YouTube Music. I think it's really good soundtrack when you're painting figurines and shit. I just don't like that game. And even if people say, well, you got to get good. Well, no, I don't. I work too many hours to worry about getting good. I want to enjoy my life. I want to have fun. And I've got Quake and Dusk and all these really good boomer shooters that are right up my alley. They've got the right mix of difficulty and reward. Uh, Travis and I were talking over the past few weeks, and Travis, one of my players in my games, he says I played Elden Ring for 4 hours one time to beat one boss, and afterwards I just did not feel rewarded. Yeah, I'm not going to give a game 4 hours to do that. You can suck my fat wrinkly dick. I'm done. I'm not into games that want you to notice this guy drops his elbow by a quarter inch and then you can go to town on him. I'm good. I don't need that. Soy-based Jeremy says, I'm designing a room, a game room, so I'll share Janet the before and after. We got LED lights and ordered some blacklight posters. Cool. There by Ice and Fire. I was thinking about getting something like that, but that'll be for the house. Lady, you don't gotta apologize. You don't have to apologize for going back and forth, doing chores, doing food prep. This is I'm not giving you guys like the secrets to investing in gold. I'm not giving you the urgent news for the locations you should be evacuating from because the bombs will start. This is a fun podcast. Me and Janet do this just because we like to do this. It's enjoyable for us. So we're still waiting on Janet to return, but looking forward to when she does. I'm sure it's her internet. Let me check her AccuWeather. Oddly enough, where she's at, it's kind of clear, but that doesn't mean that she's got good internet. You could have clear skies and her internet goes to shit like it is right now. Chat, if you have seen this movie, I Come in Peace, or Dark Angel, it's known as Dark Angel in Europe, known as I Come in Peace here in America. If you've seen this movie, I want you to put your score within the chat, and we'll talk about that. Soy-based Jeremy says Elden Ring is good, just expensive. It's understandable. I'm really looking at AAA games trying to raise their prices to $70 to $100. I think I paid $80 for Shadow of War before it came out. Shadow of Mordor, excuse me, and that was a okay game. It's not my favorite by any stretch. It's okay. It's not worth $80. It's not worth $40. It's a kind of a bastardization of some lore in Lord of the Rings, and it doesn't do a good job of providing you a happy experience. The end of the game is kind of okay. It's not great. I'm still going to say that if you want a game that rewards you and gives you the right amount of challenge, has good multiplayer, Quake 25th anniversary, it's $10. PS5, Xbox, PC. Even on Nintendo Switch. You can play against me on Nintendo Switch. One of Star Ocean's boss, the final boss, is literally an 8-hour battle while doing critical opposite elemental damage. Final boss is one thing. Just a boss. Just a boss. That's 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 one thing. Like, I think the first time I played Final Fantasy VI took me like an hour to beat the final boss on that. But nowadays could probably solo it in like 24 hours or 24 minutes. 24 hours. Could probably do it in 24 minutes. The final boss on Final Fantasy VI was a lot of fun. Yes, Jeremy, she's definitely in the sticks. It's a big ass map. Yeah, Elden Ring looks kind of okay, but it's by FromSoft, so I'll never give them money, ever. Uh, they seem to be kind of pro DEI, and I really just want to see those guys get financially hobbled. Want them to go broke. Want them to either repent for their crimes against Western civilization or just go be a greeter at Walmart. Go fuck yourself, you know. I have no love for people that are pro anything but, Western civilization. They don't seem like they, just the way the game plays out, the story as time goes on, it just, like, people have uploaded gameplay and whole playthroughs of this game. You can go watch it yourself if you want, but they don't seem like they're very happy with the way Western civilization works. And there's some parts of Armored Core 6 that are really pretty, that are really well done. But the saviors of the game are not exactly Tom Jones or Larry Smith. It tries to impart a different mindset. And I mean, if you want to go with like Middle Eastern science fiction, that's great. The Quran does a good job with Middle Eastern science fiction. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't seem right. And they say this is a miracle in the Quran, but the Quran was bastardized from the Talmud and parts of the Torah, and they did a really bad job of imitating Christianity. Although the stories about Christ in the Quran are interesting too. I'm just not a big fan of Islam. You'll never get me to say anything nice about Islam. There's a lot of Muslims in the world are actually nice people, and they don't want to have like reciprocity happen, so they're nice to everybody. Others are just shitheads, and I've always been critical of the fact that the people in this world that are the most victimized group of people in the world, according to FBI statistics, are Muslims. The people doing the most crimes across the world are Muslims. They do it to each other worse than the rest of us. So just keep that in mind. Everybody has their own thing. Janet, are you coming in? I'm going to give her another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to give my review. Next week, we'll be watching the movie The Abyss from 1989. That is a James Cameron classic. Janet wants to say, oh, yeah, that was on my list of movies. Actually, it was on both of our list of movies. It's a Michael Biehn, a high watermark for him. He played a really good bad guy in that film. I didn't mean to say if. That wasn't what I wanted to say. Let me pull up The Abyss real quick because I do want to talk about that. I was confused, Madeline Stowe with Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. And I know some people are like, what? Oh, here we go. Nope. Damn it. There we go. Okay. So here's why I mistake these two. Not the right button, Bruce. Here's Mary Elizabeth, Master Antonio, and she's got kind of a classic look to her. Forgot she was in Grimm. There we go. About the same time, a little bit later than the Abyss. And here's Miss Madeline Stowe. Both ladies, very classy looking, very good looking ladies, but was not expecting them to be almost doppelgangers. And I just feel like they're doppelgangers of each other. They're both really pretty brunette ladies in Hollywood. They do a good job with the films they make. They always put on a good show. So if you can see exactly where I was making my error, I just and here's a scene from next week's show we'll be watching, The Abyss. But I love these ladies. I think they're both really good in their own respective films. I was amazed that Brian Benben is married to Madeline Stowe. Now that I think about it, I've heard it before, it just didn't really register. Her and a 5'6" dude. Okay. So that should tell each and every one of you, Janet, it's okay. It's all right. We're gonna end the stream. Before we go, Janet, can you give me your review and I'll read it here? Hey, there she is. Ding 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 ding. You're on mute. Mute.
Better? Can you hear me now?
Awesome.
Okay, nothing worked. Not one thing would open. My internet, nothing. So it took me a while.
I think I might have had like a problem.
It just completely shut down. My computer. I sent you a text.
Okay, you have to call me
on X.
Okay. Never send me a text on my phone. You sent me a text on Twitter, and I.
Okay. Well, I couldn't get on Twitter. I couldn't get on anything because remember, my phone doesn't work that well either without internet.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I did send you a message. But yeah, my score, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Wow.
So
that's funny because I'm giving mine a 78.
Well, I wanted to give. I really feel like it could go up to an 8, personally, but I don't want to give it a better score simply because I like Ben in it. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that because overall it was mostly editing. The story, the script wasn't well put together. But that might have had to do a lot with editing too, because the casting director did a phenomenal job picking the people to actually portray the characters, which I thought they did a very good job. Whoever the pyrotechnics was, they did an excellent job. The stunt people were wonderful.
So that was Daddy. Paul Baxter did that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what his background is specifically, but he taught his son right. His son started on the A or on Dukes of Hazzard, mm-hmm. and went up to the A team, directed on the A team for the first time. And he's just like what Matthias Hughes said. He made his way through the old Hollywood way, where you are a stunt coordinator, fight choreographer, movie director, or TV show director, then movie director.
Yeah,
and he did the old school way of getting promoted. He just went up the traditional way, and I think this movie is a fantastic piece of showmanship on that. If he just would have had a good editor, I'd rate it 85.
Yeah, I think if you could have had a better person editing, and now they might have cut corners on editing simply because They wanted more of the explosions and stuff, and it did what they wanted. They wanted to attract teenage boys, basically.
Yes.
The thing is that they didn't round it off well enough, at least not from my point of view. But besides that, those few things, the movie was pretty good. And the reason just like I said, right off the bat, I brought it up to give it more of a good, honest point of view, simply because of who his, co-star was. And because I don't even think I've ever seen the woman before, the actress that played his
Really?
interest. Yeah.
She's
What else was she in?
she's in a lot.
I know, like what? Give me
Well,
some names.
I will.
Okay.
Off to
Sorry, it
Bingo
took so
Go.
long, guys, to get back. I was really trying.
You're fine. You're absolutely fine. Betsy Brantley is this actress's name,
Hmm.
and just to go. Oh, you want to read Flady's score real quick?
Hold on, I gotta see if I can get to the chat.
Just go to the screen. I've got it highlighted.
Oh, I give this 5-5.5. Good popcorn movie from adolescence. Yeah, it definitely is a good popcorn movie. This is a fun movie, a movie that you want to just, um, sit back and have a good time. But wow, that's the same actress in that
Yep.
picture right there.
Yep.
Hmm.
Same lady. Born in 55.
She doesn't look the same. Maybe it was the hairstyle, or I don't know for sure, but
She plays the boy's mom in The Princess Bride, Fred Savage's mom.
yeah.
She's in the movie Deep Impact as Ellen Biederman. And then we go back to 19.
Oh, you're so quick. I can't even read fast enough.
She's in a movie called 5 Days, One Summer. And this movie here, I'm just surprised that you're not familiar with it, because it's got Sean Connery, Betsy Brantley, Lambert Wilson, and an aging doctor takes his young, beautiful mistress on an alpine walking holiday, only to find that she is falling for the charms of a dashing tour guide. There's a dark secret that looms over the couple. This is actually not a bad film. It's not
What
great.
was the name of that one? I've never heard of it.
5 Days, One
It's
Summer.
a romance. Remember, I told you my sisters would tell me, "You ain't seen this movie," and I'd go see it, and I'd wish I could shoot myself in the head.
It's not bad. It says Sean Connery actually plays kind of a dashing older dude in this movie, and it's enjoyable. And there she is.
So it's a period movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that it's a period movie, not just by the name of it, I would just say, oh, it sounds kind of like a romance movie or something. But that might be a good one right there. I'll have to put that on. Can we put that on the list?
Oh, we'll try it.
I'd be interested, because I love period movies. And this is a totally different era, like from the 1920s or 30s? Is that what that is?
Like 1920s or 30s, I think. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I like it. I love the hairstyles and stuff. I really like that. But yeah, I haven't seen that one. But
neither have I. But
she does not look. It still doesn't look like her to me from the movie we just watched. It's weird.
But you've got Betsy Brantley. She's in The Princess Bride, and she's in a couple scenes, and that's about it. Because the rest of the movie happens from the storybook. But then
in the life,
yeah, she's she played in 2 episodes of Beauty and the Beast.
Who was in Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yep,
that's another movie I wanted on her.
She's the performance model for Jessica. She's the performance model. She's the hussy that was green screened out, and they drew in Jessica.
Oh, okay. Well, she's definitely not built like Jessica. That's why they took her out.
But she's fun.
No, I didn't say that she wasn't,
Oh yeah,
but she wasn't the voice.
no,
So
that's Kathleen Turner. That woman's purr can rouse me from the dead. I like husky voices. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm
Nice
trying
woman,
to. I'm really trying. So she was in lots of television.
huge television actress.
Okay.
She was in
See,
Mercury Rising.
you can tell that a lot when they make a lot of B-rate movies. That a lot of people that they pick, especially some of them that are really good, come from television shows.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they just somebody gets hooked on. Because remember what I said about Barry Bostwick? I said that I felt like I really liked him as an actor, but you could tell he never got past being a TV actor, even though he was in movies. He just had that look of a
He has an everyman look about him.
yeah. He looked like somebody was in TV.
Yeah,
Had that appearance.
he's good looking enough to be a weather guy.
Mm-hmm. A newscaster,
Yeah,
something like that. Definitely, he could have played a lot of newscasters.
but I think this is a movie that a lot of people like. They remember it and they saw it probably on syndication because that's where I saw it first.
Mm-hmm.
It might have gone from syndication then to Cinemax. I don't know, but I saw it in spring of '91, which I thought that was kind of weird because it just came out the year before. But there was a whole bunch of movies that came out in that time frame that did poorly at the theaters, and the next year they were on syndicated broadcast TV in the middle of the Midwest for no reason. All right, we're gonna watch this. Okay, that's fine. But that kind of blew me away, and this movie just never really got a whole lot of traction until the internet came along. And now that the internet's come along, you have reviewers like ourselves, Jason Brandt, other schlock reviewers, Red Letter Media, and we pay attention to films that really never were given love in the theaters. And I'm not saying like we're just gonna watch like mid-budget, mid-success movies. We're gonna watch everything we can, but this movie is definitely in the wheelhouse. Like this is a prime feature of a film that I think more people would get into if they actually were exposed to it.
Yeah, I think you need to set a playlist up on your channel and specifically put great popcorn movies and just put the movies like this one that uh, we said during our review that it was a great popcorn movie. Not the highest rated ones, but the ones where if you just wanted something quick and fun to watch, you could watch a good movie. And I think this is definitely one of them. At least
I'm
it is.
so surprised to hear that from you after I tried to get you to watch Midnight Meat Train or other films that I
I
really
didn't say I'd
enjoyed.
agree on all your popcorn movies. I just said you need to set up a list, a list of just movies that we would put in there that we rated and that one of it or both of us picked it as a popcorn movie because it would make it easier for people not to go through the whole list.
Yeah.
Recommended popcorn movies or whatever. I would definitely do
Also, maybe I'm reaching here. Time out real quick. I do want to bring up a friend of ours. We haven't heard from him in well over 2 weeks. I haven't seen his ex move a notch at all over 2 weeks. I'm assuming there might have been a problem with, like, say, family, but I've not heard him give an answer back as to anything going on. If you guys just have a moment, like say a small prayer, throw some positivity towards Six Nations, 31 Kings. Don't know what's going on with Josh. I just can only imagine that he's probably got some negativity going on. You might have had a family issue because there was some illness in the family before all this happened. And
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it. I just don't want him to know that I don't want him to think that, like it's his endeavor alone. He's getting away from his internet friends and family, which we're not family, we're just buddies on the web. But throw some positivity his way, because more than likely he needs it. He's it's not it's not fun to go through problems like that or situations, and people are like, where
Not
have
been
you
on
been?
Gilded either.
What?
He's not been on Gilded either.
No, no,
Okay.
not at all. I'm not seeing anything since the 27th of May, so I imagine 28th happened, and that was just a bad day for his family. But I just want you guys who could do that, and I do appreciate that. He's a valued friend of mine. He's like my friend Crafting Gamer or Flighty. I look to them as peers and want to make sure, like if they need something, I'm trying to make myself available to them.
Yeah, I've sent him a couple text messages and left voicemails, and I haven't heard back from him.
No. Uh,
So
Popcorn films that, if you guys are kind of wondering what other movies would qualify for a good popcorn film, uh, of the same year, I think it's 1989. There's a movie that came out called Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer.
yeah, we did that one.
We haven't done that one yet.
Oh, we haven't.
Nope.
Okay, I
One
thought
of
we
my
did.
one of my childhood films that I watched. I wore out the VHS that we recorded off of HBO on. I destroyed that tape. That tape is no longer serviceable, and it's sad because that was the second movie on that tape. We recorded Pretty Woman and Blind Fury, and I wore out that tape by watching Blind Fury so much. It was such a good movie. That's a
That just reminded me of something.
Go ahead.
When we first watched the movie, and the guy's driving down the road, the guy that's having a really shitty day, right? Right off the bat, one bad thing after the other's happening to him, right? And then he crashes in the field and everything at the end part
Yeah.
of it. The first thing that happens though is a CD just shoots out of the CD thing, like we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what was funny to me is I was trying to remember. I was like, I couldn't remember when the movie came out, and I was like, did they even have CDs yet? Is this like a futuristic weird thing? That's why nobody can figure out what it is, with what's making the cuts or whatever. So I don't know. I just that reminded me of that when you said that. So, and the idea that a prop master, from backstage, it comes up with different ideas, because like in the movie Star Trek, right? There was a Star Trek movie, and one of the prop guys came up with the eyeglasses that Geordi wore using a banana clip. Okay.
Yep.
And they just did that and put magnets on it on the side of his head. So there's lots of smart people that look at things that can look at it totally different than when we would look at it. But the guy that made the gavel, that was a raven's claw, and they put a little one of those glass balls, glued it in there and used it because it looked old and interesting. So they just made things like that. And that's how I felt when I saw the whole thing with the speaker, because it is magnetized. So the fact that it would pull it into it was a really smart idea for them to use, the way to capture that flying disc that was running around, slicing people open using magnets. I thought that was interesting. I just wanted to bring that up.
We My uncle died in '88 from just being the type of guy that he played around and stuff he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And there was a song that came out by the guy from Wham, George something or other, where he's talking about, his friend died, a teacher, and crying out, for him to come back, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And George Michael Faith album came out, and my dad fell in love with this song because it felt like it was reaching out to his younger brother, because his younger brother was talented at some things. He was really a good cook, really a good grill master. He worked at a steakhouse as a grill master, and he was just fantastic with that. But kind of hurt the family quite a bit, and I watched my grandfather stumble around for 35 years before he died, just kind of in a shock that his youngest son died. And it was rough but that song gave my dad comfort. And my dad kind of, you kind of understand where I get my tendencies from my father. My dad's this guy that if he sees something, he's going to put away money for it, and he's going to just get a hold of it. He's going to buy it, or he's going to acquire it.
Mhm.
Just deal with it. If he sees something he really really wants, it's going to be his. And my dad at the time been reading all the tech magazines, and we were going to Radio Shack. It's '88, and my dad bought a CD player, and that was the first CD we got was George Michael Faith uh, in '88.
Oh,
And
it's so sweet.
I thought that movie. When I saw this, it was one of the first movies I remember where they actually had CDs being used, and the guy having trouble with the CD player. It made me remember, like, oh wait, this is a Christmas movie. I can watch this with Die Hard and feel no pain.
Yeah.
This Gremlins and Die Hard.
Yeah, that was another thing that you just popped in my head, was the fact that the scene where all three of them are in the car and they're all in the front seat. I just thought this was really good. And they're going in and out of the walls at the mall, I guess, through the windows and stuff.
Third movie that I remember with a mall scene with a car in it.
But them driving through that, being chased by this one guy and all that stuff, I just thought that was that was expensive. That was a very expensive scene to shoot. Not just the fact that you got stunt people doing the scenes, but you also have to film it to make it look like the people in the front seat are actually going through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the actor chasing them in the car. So you're basically doing it twice. You know what I mean? So, I just thought that, and that was not cheap, because I was trying to break down earlier before my computer problems that where the money went. You know, that's what I'm saying, because was it all spent on pyrotechnics? But no, there was a lot of things in there. And you got to remember, when you're crashing through buildings with all that glass and stuff like that, even if they took all the panes out, because sometimes I've seen them go in with these people, the glass people, and they go in and they take all the glass out, let's say the front of a mall or whatever, and then they store the glass, and then they make more glass that's breakable, whatever, and then they put it in, and they make multi of them, because they're probably going to have to do it 2 or 3 times. That's why it's expensive. And it's usually made of, now I don't know if it's still made out of it, but it used to be made out of like sugar. So when it breaks, you know, it's edible. You could eat the glass because it's made out of like sugar, melted sugar. But it's expensive, and you have to have the people that know how to put it in, take it out, put it back in, take it out. And sometimes they do the same thing with vehicles. And sometimes that's a little different, and it's more expensive in a vehicle because it might be going through water and different things like that. So it really depends on the scene, what they're going to use it for, and you know, what amount of time that scene is going to be on the movie. If it's only going to be 10 seconds, they're probably going to spend less money worrying so much about it. And I think the scene, like I was telling you about the alien or the cyborg guy, he was going to be in the back seat. He was always in darker crevices, you know, in the city and things like that, or running through the darkness. So they didn't have to put as much money on them either, because they didn't have to, because there wasn't any direct shots right on them or anything. Now, the one scene that I was most impressed by, sorry, I'm all this is popping in now that I got all this other stuff out of my way, that's dragging longer. But the one scene that I was impressed by after the explosion was when he shoots the gun out the window, Ben's character. And hi, Diesel Dave. He shoots the gun, and then the car explodes, you know, the flames and lightning almost, and then flips around a whole bunch of times, and then crashes into other cars in the street. And then they stop, and then he gets out and he's like, yeah, or whatever. And then he sees the guy get out of the car really fast and come running. That was a real kick-ass scene. I
love that scene.
And I didn't get to bring it up earlier because of all the computer shit. So, but
it's all right. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. But that's part of the allure of this film is they filmed it so tightly with the pyrotechnics and stunts that you think it's all happening within like 4 minutes of itself. And Matthias Hughes is an unstoppable alien that's
Yeah.
basically a Terminator.
Well, basically, he's high as a kite too.
Mhm. Yeah.
So he's high on heroin.
I don't think he gets high until the very end.
Well, I thought he was high through the whole thing because he was just crazy. He was like an unstoppable heroin tank. Basically, it was like so. That's what I think. That's how I felt. So, but I wanted to add that. I'm sorry. And as
Jeremy,
you've been speaking about things have been popping in my head.
Jeremy, he's 48 years old, not 49. I know that because we're born on the same day. Okay. You said 75. I say 78.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, we're going to be watching a 1989 classic movie, not 1990, The Abyss, with James Cameron at the helm, Michael
Yeah,
Biehn,
it's a good movie.
Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. It's just filled to the brim with good people. This is going to be a fun movie to watch. I can't wait to hear what Janet thinks of it. Hopefully, all of you were there with us. And then 2 weeks after that, we're actually reviewing Blind Fury. Because
And who's in that one again?
Rutger Hauer, Lisa Blount, Rex, or fuck, what's his name? Boxer. Tex. He was in a Champ.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm really terrible with names. I can see faces. If I know them really well or whatever, then I remember them.
Rutger Hauer, Terry O'Quinn, Brandon Call, Tex Cobb, Lisa Blount, Noble Willingham. Randall Tex Cobb is one of the best old school boxers that made his way into the 80s boxing scenes. He's just a beast of a man. He played a good heavy in Blind Fury, and I can't wait to watch that with you. You've never seen that movie, have you?
Which one?
Blind Fury.
No. I'm excited. I've never seen so many movies I've never seen before. I'm really surprised.
Well, 10th January. So, yeah, we're going to watch that. But next week is The Abyss. Actually, Janet, let me ask you this. What do you want to watch? Blind Fury or Quicksilver?
I'd rather watch Blind Fury.
Okay. You just don't like Kevin Bacon, do you?
Huh?
You don't like Kevin Bacon, do you?
Not really. It's like I said. Now, if I have to watch him, I will. I might be surprisingly shocked how good it is.
Did you
But
ever
I know I like Rutger Hauer.
Okay.
I don't know what movie he's in, I like him. He's a good
for me,
actor.
Rutger Hauer's the German version of Dolph Lundgren for me.
Well, I think he's like 5 notches higher when it comes to acting and stuff. I ever since I was young and I saw him in Lady Hawk, I was like, holy crap, this guy is the best knight there ever was. That's the kind of way I looked at him.
I like Rutger Hauer. I just Roy he cemented what a bad guy should be for me, and I love Roy.
Yeah, I loved him in Blade Runner.
Roy Batty is such a iconic piece of film cinema for me. Like, he's just nobody but Roy Batty, and there's other films he's been in that he's really good at, and this movie that we're going to watch in 2 weeks is one of them. We'll watch Quicksilver in 5 weeks, but next week we're doing The Abyss and then Blind Fury.
Well, guess what I'm going to do after we're done?
I don't know.
I found my mother's bowling ball a while back when I was cleaning on the closets at my dad's house, and the bag's like really old and it's falling apart and stuff. So I cleaned it all up and I took the ball to the bowling place that I could find and asked them if they could buff out the scratches and nicks and stuff, because I remember my mother bowling with that when I was a little girl. and I think it weighs like 14 or 15 pounds. And so I called Sandy and I said, I found my mom's bowling bag, and it's got shoes that are really little. They're leather, they seem, maybe they shrank. I don't know. But I asked Sandy if she wanted the shoes. So she came over that day. Remember when you were on the phone with me, and she goes, what's going on, or whatever. I gave her those shoes and she just loved them, but I don't know if she can wear them or not. But I told her when I get my ball back, I want to go bowling. So we're going to go bowl. I'm going to go pick her up and we're going to go to the bowling alley. And I think this bowling alley has a side that you can drink on or whatever. I'm not 100% because I've not been here before, but they're the ones that did the ball. So I was looking around while I was there and I said, why not? Let's just go take Mom's ball and we'll use my mother's ball and we'll both bowl with it. And I think it's going to be fun. So we'll see how it goes. Just letting you know what I was planning on doing. I'll let you know how it goes. I haven't bowled in a while.
Well, for all of you that came by today, thank you so much for being here. We're going to be back next week doing this with the movie The Abyss. Next Saturday, Janet and her friends playing the Deep Percentile game that I'm running will be back in Quail Valley, see if they can figure out what's going on with the orcs and Pembroke and get everything squared away. Lady, take care of yourself, good friend. Soy Base Jeremy, enjoy yourself. We'll be back very shortly. For those of you that enjoy us a lot, don't forget Janet has her own shows on Thursday and Friday night. Please watch those. And you can look for me on affiliated networks. Until then, you all be well. God bless.
Bye-bye.